I'm Councillor Alex Phillips, and I'm on the Children and Young Persons Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Yeah, I mean, Brighton and Hove has quite a unique demographic in that we've got quite a high level of, teenage pregnancies. There is quite a high level of drugs and alcohol abuse compared to other places in the region, and certainly compared to the national average. So, for example, we've got lots of children in care. I think over 800 children in care, which is really very high. So all of these problems combined together means that services that have recently been cut, like connections, will have a dramatically negative impact on those young people in Brighton and Hove. Not only have those services being cut, but at the same time, there's no employment, it's very difficult to get into further education, there are none of the support structures that have been there in the past, they've just been wiped out overnight. So it's pretty devastating, I think, for lots of young people and some of the most vulnerable young people in the city. Well, I think that, obviously a lot of these efficiency savings have been, they're knocked down from central government onto us, but I think there are ways in which we can pass them on. I would argue that the City Council in Brighton and Hove have not liaised effectively with partners in connections, for example, which they're likely to cut completely. And I think that although there may be restructuring in organisations like that, to just cut it completely overnight without actually speaking and communicating with them beforehand isn't a great way of operating. It doesn't respect them as people, and it doesn't have a positive outcome for young people in the city. And there have been at least 3 local authorities who have not cut connections, for example. So, they're examples of where these cuts that have come down from national government haven't then just automatically been passed on. We're quite sceptical of any sort of outsourcing or commissioning. We're sceptical on the grounds that it doesn't give value for money. There's not the same kind of quality control that you might have if it was in-house. So in Brighton and Hove, under the Conservative administration, minority Conservative administration, thanks to my election, they have this model of intelligent commissioning, which is basically scrapping what we had before with assistant directors and putting in heads called commissioners of certain services and having teams under them to provide efficiency savings or what have you. And I just think that that's going to have a really negative impact on services and on the quality of services for people in Brighton and Hove. And I also think that democratically it doesn't help other parties to kind of get involved in the decision-making process.